From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Bucket Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans, by fans. We're not fancy analysts, but we have just as many bad takes. I'm Bob.
I'm Buck.
And we are also joined by the two men from All Chiefed Up channel on YouTube. They're also every place else, Facebook, X, every place else. Mike and Steve, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
What's
Good
up?
to be here.
Woo!
Good
Glad
to
to
be
have
here.
you guys.
Hey, you've
Thanks
been
for
on our
having us.
show quite a few times talking, and I was like, we gotta go do this thing.
Yeah, man, I love it. And you guys switched your morning live streams to members only. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to become a member now. I can't miss this. And it's great too because you guys have a great spot because so many people don't do mornings. So that's something we find a problem with. We're like, well, we don't. We want to record when no other Chiefs people are recording, but
Tough.
it's hard to find. Yeah, at nighttime.
Yeah.
That's a tough one,
yeah.
man. There's so many channels now.
Yep.
Everybody's cashing in on this Chiefs success, right?
Yep.
Hey, let's start a YouTube channel.
Yep. Should have started it long prior, but I had Buck talked me into doing this podcast, but I had major what's it called? Imitators.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, major imposter syndrome. But as the season went on, I was like, oh, shit. Well, we actually know more about the Chiefs than most of the guys at ESPN because they cover every team and often other sports. Right. Yeah, so I started to feel a lot more comfortable. And then you get some stuff right, you feel good, but yeah.
Yeah, you can listen to Skip Bayless or Colin Cowherd, and you'll quickly realize you're a lot smarter.
Dude, Skip, I'm pretty sure Skip doesn't believe anything that he says. He just is like, what will piss people off the most?
Yes, he's just good at being the
Certainly.
bad guy. That's how he gets the interaction, man.
Hey, man,
Yes.
if you can make Shannon Sharp, a Bronco, look good, you screwed up. I don't know how you got there, but you messed up.
Oh, man. All right. So, guys, the show today, we're going to have a real quick talk here at the start about the possible banning of the Tush push. Then we're going to go in and do a little fun, get to know Mike and Steve interview. And then we're going to go on to just kind of rating different things so far that have happened. Like, what's our favorite and least favorite Chiefs off-season move, coaching. There's just a couple questions. We're gonna grade stuff. We're gonna, it should be a fun show. So you guys strap in and yeah, guys, should we start with this clip from the Pat McAfee show talking about the Tush push?
Let's do it.
All right, here it comes.
Push. That one feels like that one's going to get overturned. That one feels like it's going to get banned. I don't love it. Yeah. I'm not going to say that I am a proponent of that getting banned, but I believe the Tush push, that one feels like it's on its way out. And you already heard it being chatted about in a couple of these reports. Pro Football Talk's talking about it. Schefter's talking about it. A lot of people are talking about it, how people in the competition committee, I guess it got a little bit tense in there. I guess there were some people that weren't necessarily thrilled with the thought of banning this entire thing, especially because one team's better at it than all of the other teams. But they did mention the precedent of the special teams pushing from the tight end or from the linebackers on the D tackles for field goal blocks. It just feels like everybody doesn't want to say publicly that they want it to be gone because they're all football guys and somebody's innovative. And I forget who said it. Somebody said it this morning in their meeting about maybe Bean, I don't know. But anytime somebody creates a play, or Sean McDermott, anytime somebody's innovative with the sport, you never want to punish them for it. But it does feel as if there is a lingering kind of, it feels like they're going to get rid of this particular play.
All right, so that was Pat. Pat and many have thought that there's no way that this was going to get banned, but now he's reading the room and thinking it actually is going to get banned. What do you guys think about this? Who wants to start? First in, best dressed.
Ban it. Get rid of it. It's boring. It's stupid. It's rugby. No one cares. But I kind of agree. It's a player safety issue of some sort, and that's probably what's going to maybe get this thing overturned and out of the game. All the pushing in the back. You're not allowed to do it in any other play. So what makes it special? I don't know. I just don't think there's much to it. Yes, there is one team that's better than everybody else. But it's just because they've been doing it for longer, right? So, I mean, everybody else is eventually going to figure out. You just fall on your head and, physics takes place. But I mean, I'm good with banning it. I just think it's dumb.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because other teams that have tried it, the Bills, when they try it, they have one person pushing Josh Allen, whereas when the Eagles do it, there's 3 people pushing Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So it's just like nobody's actually really tried it, from what I could tell.
They don't get low enough either. If you watch the Eagles do it, it's like their guys literally fall straight over. Like they just go straight down. So the other teams are not doing that. They're actually trying to do like a quarterback sneak. It's not the same.
Yeah, I've never had a problem with this play. I mean, as long as all of the teams are playing by the same rules, every team has the opportunity to do it, but they also have that opportunity to get that star quarterback hurt too. It's not a matter of if Jalen Hurts is going to get hurt, it's when. So I don't have a problem with the play. However, banning it would make the game a lot more fun to watch.
What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think the play is just boring. It's kind of ridiculous. It seems to me it's very like grade school-esque. I think nobody else is good at it because they don't waste their time practicing it because they're doing real football plays. They don't care about getting 4th and 1s over and over. Exactly. So it's just one of those things. Like, does the play need to be banned? I don't know. If you look at it from a competition standpoint, I get what Buck said. Everybody can do it. It's not a big deal. If they want to run it and Jalen Hurts gets hurt, then by all means, that's your own stupidity. Nick Sirianni is that much of an idiot, so he would be the guy to pull it off. Other than that, I don't know, other than just being boring. They did say it doesn't cause any injuries, but we've seen firsthand it hurt Chris Jones's neck. So how do they say it doesn't cause any injuries? We watched it happen.
Report came out. They're like, you could make an argument. Well, Cole from How About Those Chiefs on his other channel did a thing. He's like, you could make an argument Chris Jones got hurt, but I guess no other reports are. But if they don't report that, then do they report them? You know, like there could be plenty of injuries that happened that weren't reported. And we do know Jason Kelsey's talked about how every time they called it, he was like, all right. So the center definitely takes a beating from it.
Didn't he also admit to cheating every time they did that play?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that every time he would move the ball up from the actual line of scrimmage and then lean forward. So basically they gain a couple feet before they even snap the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it because they say on the defense, I think McAfee even referred to it. On special teams, you're not allowed to push up the middle. But the argument for me would be that the center snapping the ball has got his head down. So the center, presumably running the tush push, doesn't have to keep his head down. That is going to protect the player, right, on the special team. So I don't know. I think the play's boring and it sucks. I'm also hearing that Diana Rossini thinks that it is turning. Tides are turning. They've got to get 2/3 of the NFL, I believe. So what is that, 22, 25 teams, somewhere like that's got to vote to do this? Mm-hmm. I think at the end of the day, they won't even get enough. I think they won't.
You don't think quietly there's a bunch of teams out there just sick of it? Like,
maybe a lot of NFC teams that don't really like Nick Sirianni, just want to just really piss him off. Hey, but other than that, I don't know.
I'll admit, maybe there's a little bit of that in my analysis of that play.
Yeah, you just hate Nick Sirianni.
So for me, and I've been saying this forever, and I mean, I have literally been making this argument since 1998. I want the whole quarterback sneak even thrown out. And I think you could do it easily by just saying the quarterback has to take one step back regardless. I mean, like whoever's got the ball snapped to him.
He hasn't ran it since 1980, whatever you say.
It's just, I mean, I've just always thought it was out of place in the game of football, and I've just always thought that, and so I would even like it for just them to just cancel it completely, like the quarterback sneak. I actually think the tush push is actually cooler than the quarterback sneak. Like, just in the fact that it's innovative, and something that people found out that they could do. But man, I'm just not a fan of the quarterback sneak, and therefore not a fan of the tush push. So I'm with you guys. I'd love it to just be banned, but it's not going to make me completely happy because you still have the quarterback sneak, which I just don't like.
Don't teams always figure out how to bend the rules? We're watching it right now with the Yankees. fixing the bats, so where they're smacking homers every
That
5 minutes
torpedo
because
bats,
they're putting it on their hands. The barrel of the bat's down here. They're just holding their bat backwards. Nobody figured this out yet. But yeah, it's always going to happen. And guess what? It's going to end up. MLB's going to take it out because everybody's going to whine about it, or the game's going to switch over to that, and then it's just going to be weird. So I feel like they got to do something for competition because I just don't think other teams like it. But if they don't touch it, it wouldn't surprise me either. What's up, Chiffer?
Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what happens, but honestly, like I'm not that big of a deal on it. I just have been. Everybody thinks I'm crazy when I tell them I don't like the quarterback sneak for years, and they're like, "Yeah, but you can't take something so iconic out of the game." And I'm like, just because you've done something for a ton of years doesn't mean it's the right thing. Like sometimes, and a lot of people I think get blinded by that, but that's just me. I do have a lot of takes that people are like, "What are you talking about, Bob?" So
Right. Well, let's look at the special team stuff, like the kickoff. Like, would anybody 25 years ago thought they'd be doing something that stupid?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you did take that out of the game in 20 years, you'd probably be like, why were they doing that? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just one of those things. Change happens.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump into our little interview and get to know Mike and Steve. I'm dying for this. I was talking to them. I've done podcasts forever. The last podcast I did, Warcraft Reloaded, we had different guests on every week. Probably had 150 guests over the few years that we did it. I love hearing about how content creators start out because at the end of the day, content creators are just regular people that just take the tools that YouTube and every different platform has given us and make something out of it. And it's always very unique to me. So let's get started here. I want your guys' origin stories, like, because I know you guys are based out of Kentucky, but I don't know if you lived here before or like, when did you become a Chiefs fan? And just give us a little background.
Pops, basically. We grew up in Kentucky, but old man was a Chiefs fan from way back. And it just kind of was a rule in the house, right? Like eventually you were going to have to leave if you didn't love the Chiefs. So you just kind of fall into line there. But Mike was more into football earlier than me. I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to that. But as far as I can remember, I can remember him and Pops listening to Chiefs games because we couldn't get them on the local channels. It was like before NFL Sunday Ticket and stuff like that.
And were never on, ever on national games.
The only thing we ever got to see, first of all, in the 90s, I remember seeing the Dallas Cowboys, Buffalo, when they were both good. And then, which I would always cheer for Buffalo then because I hated the Cowboys. And in hindsight, it's just funny because Buffalo, I hate them. So, but but locally we could only get Bengals, the Titans when they became a team, and then the Colts. That was it. Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. And then the internet come along, thankfully. The old dial-up connection. So me and Pops would get up at like noon on a Sunday. I'd be laying in the floor half asleep, but we'd be on dial-up connection listening to sports radio, whatever we could get to listen to the Chiefs. So it was pretty hardcore. I had to play all the games in my head. So all the games of almost like the early Dick Vermeil era and the late Schottenheimer era was all in my head. Like I've never actually seen the game. I just know what I think I've seen. And Tamark Vanover was the greatest player ever in my head. I mean, come on. This guy was Superman half the time, right?
Quick story to kind of describe how it was in our house. I got home from school and Mike and my dad were literally in tears. And I'm like, what happened? I thought something, happened in the family. It was when Derek Thomas had passed away. And it was just like, a family member had died, It was just, that's how hardcore it was in our house about the Chiefs. So,
yeah.
It was definitely like that here in the city overall. It was, you would have thought that the president of the United States died.
Yeah, it was rough. Oh, but so do you guys make it out for a game or two every once in a while?
We usually try to do it every year, at least get out to a game or two. I don't think we did any last year. Just crazy schedules, and of course ticket prices and things have gone through the freaking roof. But just different little things. But we try to get out once or twice a year. We usually go to camp every year, spend some time there, and try to have a meet and greet with some people that are in Kansas City that watch the channel and stuff. But yeah, we try to. It's always a good time.
What is this that King Jamie the Mad just posted?
Mike made it to the big show.
What?
Come on. Cough it up. I want to hear it.
I don't know. The agent hasn't called me yet. I've been doing some podcast named Buck and Bob.
Maybe King Jamie is an agent and he's invited.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
Mike, which practice squad are you on right now? You're not telling us because they're not the Chiefs.
I don't know, man.
The
I wouldn't play for
Raiders.
any other practice squad.
Don't
If
do
the
it.
Raiders offered me money right now to be their ball boy, I'd tell them to shove it.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. What's the one Chiefs game or memory that you'll never forget? And obviously why?
That's a good one, man. There's been a lot. I'd say the one that I will not forget was going to a Thursday night game against the Raiders. The winner won the AFC West, and that is the night that Tyreek Hill returned the punt return. And Mike, he can be humble about all he wants. He started the Tyreek chant that took over the entire stadium.
What we
that's
think?
awesome.
It could have been somewhere
Now,
else.
maybe
That's
you and
big
one other
stadium,
guy
right?
at the other end of the stadium, but
come on.
like literally, it just went from Mike to and it just went crazy, and then he ran the kickback. That was an insane night, by the way. And I think we ran into like Randy Moss that night. Like there were some people from like ESPN and all that out there. It was
That's
a crazy
cool.
night. There's like well oversold out. There were just people everywhere that night.
Steve,
It was
what
nuts.
game was it that we went to? It may have been the first. It was currently, I think it might have been the first Super Bowl run where it snowed really bad. We were all standing on ice the entire game, and you hit the announcer with a snowball from across the parking lot.
Let's get this straight. They were playing the Colts. It
Yeah,
was
it
the
was
Colts.
the Colts game, and it was the time that they had the person in there doing like the chant to like break the curse. Do you remember that?
It was Okay, so let's clear this up. Mike's making me sound like a savage, but here's what happened. So
You had to do with a snowball, bro.
backstory: I used to pitch baseball, right? So we were quite a way away, and there was a newscaster doing an interview. Like they had our backs to us, and we were waiting in line to get into the stadium. And somebody around us was like, "Bet you can't hit that, guy with the snowball." And I was like, I can hit him. So I like packed the snowball up and I fastball it over there and beat him right in the back. And I guess he was live. So he's like, I would love to see that from the other end. But
Long story
Mike's
short,
making me
we spent
sound
the night in
crazy.
jail.
Mike's making me sound crazy, but that's how that went.
I think one of the most fun games I can remember off the top of my head was we went to KC to watch the Texans in the playoffs, and that's when the Texans were whooping our ass in the first quarter, and we were all just looking at each other like, what's going on? Steve missed the whole game. He was sick. He had to leave his ticket. We had to get a hotel room, put him in there, and then we went to the stadium to watch the game, me and Pops, and
He always
and my
brings it up
girlfriend went.
too.
I've heard
Dude,
the
and then we've
story,
seen
and
that
it
comeback,
hurts.
baby, and that's a great one. And Steve's having 5 guys in a hotel and not the burger.
Sick as a dog, trying not to throw up, but I'm eating a burger watching the Chiefs, right?
I love that game. I've watched that game probably 25 times. I love watching in the first quarter, and they keep panning to all the Chiefs fans in the stands, and they're all sad. And I'm like, wait, just 10 minutes. Just wait
Hang in
10
there.
minutes, man. This is going to blow your fucking mind. Like, yeah.
Were you guys at the game? Anybody
No.
at the game? Me and Pops were up there, and we were just like amazed. Every time the Texans would score and the Chiefs just looked like crap, we were just looking at each other, and it was almost comical. It was almost like, here we go. Like, what is this playoff thing? Because it was kind of reminiscent of when we blew the Alex Smith to the Colts in the playoffs in the second half, and then here we had this going.
Man,
It was
we
almost
were
like,
that
why do we
game
do
too.
this? But yeah, when McCole Hardman got it going, I think he almost returned a kickoff to get it going back, and then big play by Sorensen there on that fake whatever they were doing,
And
up
then,
by 20
what
points.
was the little guy's name that recovered the fumble there on the kickoff? You know what I'm talking about? The little running back we had for a minute. He was
Yeah.
tiny.
Oh, Darwin Thompson?
Darwin
Was it him?
Thompson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a cool
that was
game.
a good
though.
game, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was that whole run was just like what showed us that Mahomes is never out of it. Like, that's
you can't-
that run was amazing.
You can't forget about the Garth Brooks sing-along. The Friends in Low Places sing along was iconic. That's a great moment.
Don't get me started. Like I have a problem with singing when people bring things up, and I'll just go into, well, I got friends in low places. Yep, drives Buck nuts, but I
We try
can't
to
help
keep
it.
that to a minimum on this show. I'm
sorry I brought it up.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't talk about the other game when everyone was singing "Living on a Prayer." No, I'm just kidding.
Living. Oh man! All right. Well, okay. So, dream guest. You know, like you guys have had guests on your show. What's your dream guest if you could have one, past, present, future? And I mean, you could even open it up to even people that aren't here now, if you want to. I think.
Right. So I'm gonna be easy. I'm gonna be easy one. I'll take Patty. I'm taking Mahomes. I mean, this dude. It blows my mind how much hate he catches.
It's
Like,
unbelievable
it's
when he's such
crazy.
a good guy.
Exactly. Like he is like exactly who you'd want to be the face of the NFL, right? Like family guy. He makes all the right decisions. He says all the right things. He just seems very genuine. And what he's been able to do for the Chiefs is just freaking mind blowing. You know, like I thought for a long time, like
Not just the Chiefs, the city of Kansas City. I mean,
it continues to do it.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
sports in general.
yeah, just unbelievable.
And on a personal level, it was like I really thought that Pops wasn't going to make it to see a Chiefs Super Bowl. I didn't think that was going to happen. Mahomes
Yeah,
changed
we were in a rough
that.
spot there.
Yeah.
For a little-
Mahomes changed that. It was insane. Like this guy has just single-handedly made the Chiefs what they are today, I think. I know Andy Reid played a huge part in that, but Andy Reid was Andy Reid before Mahomes, and he didn't have no rings. So I think Mahomes is a huge part of that, and I just think he's a awesome guy. I'd love to just talk to him because I feel like he's super genuine too.
Yeah, I think Brittany's gotten a lot better. And she's done a lot for the city too, but she had some rough times where she was caught at the wrong time on camera. And then, of course, there's Jackson, and he caused a lot of problems
I
for
think
Mahomes.
it's one of those things with haters and fans and media and stuff like that. It's like if you can't hate on Patrick directly, let's find something around him to take him down.
Yep.
So I think it was a lot of that. Mike,
And
who would you pick?
He's been a class act through it all too.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I'd pick Jackson Mahomes. I think you nailed it right there.
It
would be fun.
You
Did
just
you
do
or
some
did you
fun
not?
dances.
Yeah.
I would
all-
absolutely watch that.
In all honesty, I think it'd be fun to have Brittany on a podcast because you can learn some stuff about Patrick if she'd be willing to divulge. She might not because of PR. But
I don't know. She really don't care. She says some crazy stuff sometimes.
Right. I'd be like, so
Although-
what's Pat really shoot when he plays golf? How many mulligans does he take?
But I mean, she's actually better than if I think about like Matthew. Rams. Matthew Stafford. His wife has
Kelly
really.
Stafford was wild.
She's put some sound bites out that just don't make him look the greatest.
Yeah. Brittany was a good athlete in her own right. I believe she
Oh,
played
yeah.
soccer. She was really good at soccer. So I don't know. She'd be
Oh,
fun to
really
talk
good.
to. I think if I had to go back and pick anybody, man, I think it would be, obviously it'd be fun to interview Derek Thomas. If you could go back and do
Right.
that,
Yeah,
that would be
same.
sick.
Yeah.
But you know who would be really awesome in a way? Just Gunther Cunningham. Like, I thought he was just like the ultimate, like,
That's
Chiefs
actually-
badass attitude that, like, he was going to just destroy you.
That's
Like-
actually like when he took over as head coach is when I became a Chiefs fan. Because my mom, diehard Chiefs fan, one of the first Chiefettes during their first time here in Kansas City. For anybody that doesn't know what a Chiefette is, they were the little dance squad girls from Miller and Marley that would throw the batons up and do dance things during halftime and stuff. So she was a huge fan. My dad grew up in Fort Worth, tried to make me a Cowboys fan. It worked for a bit, but then
You didn't try.
yeah, I didn't really love the Marty Ball style of play, but then Gunther came in, and I mean we weren't good, but I don't know, for some reason it just stuck. Like, and then we got Joe Montana came in. I think I was 16, and I was just like, all right, I'm gonna start getting into the Chiefs, and then there's just been no looking back. Like Yeah, I was like, sorry, Dad. Cowboys are dead to me.
Good choice.
Yeah, excellent choice.
So regarding the 2024 season, I think it would have been a bold prediction to say that the Chiefs were going to run the season with all these crazy wins, right? So what would you guys say would be your wildest Chiefs prediction for the 2025 season coming up?
That's a good one, man. I'll tell you what. I think it's. I think people would consider it a wild prediction, but I think they'll go back to the Super Bowl again. I think they'll be in a fourth straight Super Bowl.
I think it's very possible.
Whether they win it or not, it doesn't even matter at that point. I just think that that's unprecedented, right? It's insane. No one's ever done 3 until now. And I think there's still so many people are under the misconception that the dynasty's over. This team's done. Like they're gone now. The Eagles killed them, blah, blah, blah. Like it's so absurd, man. Like this team's built for longevity. They're going to continue to do what they do. Brett Veach does what he does every offseason. They keep getting younger. Patrick Mahomes, he structured his contract where he can allow a little bit of money every year to flow in. It's just genius how they have that set up.
It looks like he wants to live here forever. Like, I mean, it doesn't look like he has any plans of going any place else. And I mean, it's a good place to live. Like, flights are cheap anywhere the U.S. You can get to any place within 3 hours. Whereas if you live on the coast, going to the other coast is a real not fun experience.
Yeah, I'm calling 4 straight Super Bowls, though. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, that's not really all that crazy, Steve.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it. Honestly, after they lost the Super Bowl, Vegas was already favoring them to go back to the Super Bowl next season. So I don't know how bold it is, but I mean, it is bold in the matter that it's never even come close to being a possibility.
Right, and I think like a lot of people are just predicting their complete fall off, but I think they're going to win the AFC West again. This isn't the year that stops, and I think they win the AFC again. Like I just do.
Yeah. Well, and I think, dude, I don't know about you guys, but I really feel like Mahomes. I saw like a lot of. Everybody makes fun of me for talking about players' mental, but I really feel like it's a big part of the game. And his mental looked off, and I think it like going for the 3-peat. I think stressed everybody out.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of that, a lot of personal stuff too. He just did. I'm with you, man. Something was a little off there, and I mean he's human, right? We forget that because of what he's been able to do, but. I mean, he has a lot going on. Off
And
the
third kid.
Field. Yeah, exactly. There's just a lot there.
And he's a good dad, too.
Well, yeah, like actually present and doing things, right? Mike, what's your crazy prediction for the year then? If mine wasn't good enough, we need a crazier one.
To chime in on what you all were saying, like the Mahomes mental thing, I mean, you watched the show. Like, we are not going to not call out Patrick Mahomes if he has a bad game. Like, I'm sorry, we'll take heat all day long, and people's like, have you ever played football? Who are you? And it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I had an opinion. I'll just put my head in
Bill Belichick didn't play a ton of ball either, guys.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? I'm allowed to comment on it. That's the point. But yeah, I thought he struggled, and he's not looked the same for maybe 2 years now. It's been weird, and a lot of people says Nagy. I think there's a combination of a lot of things. I think like Brett Veach kind of neglected the wide receiver room for a long time. The offensive line's been neglected now for a few years. We've never found that left tackle solution going all the way back to Eric Fisher. And it's not like he was God's gift to the position or anything. So we've had all that going on. And then all this personal stuff popped up this year. And I don't know. My prediction this year is going to be that Mahomes gets back. I think Mahomes gets back to Mahomes, and I think he's right there in the
slinging
MVP
that ball,
conversation.
please sling that ball. Like you guys talk about it a lot on your show, where it looked like he was trying to aim the ball last year, like over trying. Dude, just fire that pigskin.
Throw it. Don't aim it. Throw it, baby.
Get out of your head. That's the main thing I think he needs to do.
But he looks like he's in like a better headspace right now. I do believe that the 3-peat was weighing on him. He's cut his hair. He's got his dad bod.
Dude,
he's getting the physique back.
Huge, bro.
So it is what it is. We'll see what Mahomes does, but I think ultimately it comes down, are they going to be able to protect him? Are they going to protect him, and can our wide receivers stay healthy? Because Hollywood Brown, he can't miss the entire season again. Rashee Rice, Mahomes can't take his knee out again. How about that? That was a big blunder from last year. So I'll predict Mahomes looks a lot better, and he's in the MVP race. Will he win MVP? Probably not, because the media hates the Chiefs and Mahomes, but I'll say he's in the race, and that was better than this year because everybody dogged him this year.
It'd be a good
he's
year
not
for
even
him
top
to win
10
it,
anymore, right?
Would it not be a
Yeah.
great year for him just to come out and scorched earth and win the MVP, just to shut up everybody? It'd be
Another
perfect,
50
right?
touchdowns.
Yeah,
Hell
that'd be
yeah.
insane, man.
Bro, I'll take-
Oh, I love it.
I'll take 40 touchdowns at this point.
Well, dude, I
Yeah.
mean, if Rashee Rice doesn't get suspended for too long and he's back off that injury, and then Xavier Worthy, Hollywood's back. I mean, he's got all the pieces and the tools there, right? If Mahomes can get out of his head and just play the way he normally does,
I do think there needs to be a
possibilities
tweak.
are endless there.
A tweak, though, within the offense.
I think
a little
so, too,
bit. It's
yeah.
not all on Mahomes. I think Andy and them, the offense has got a little stale looking for 2 years, and I just think it's been figured out to a certain degree, and not figured out, but they've contained it very well. Defenses have game planned for this very well. They've made Mahomes look a little strange, and then when you add the offensive line and the receivers and things to it, so our defense has really been put under a stressor and a pressure cooker for the past 2 years, and they've held up pretty well. So I'll say that everybody needs to get it together a little bit, and that includes Andy.
Well, yeah, I
100%.
mean, am I wrong by saying this? I feel like everybody in the league mimicked Andy Reid's offense, but they've evolved it and made and like tweaked it and done certain things. Andy's just stayed right there doing Andy's offense that everyone's already stole and tweaked. And it's like you gotta get up to date, bro. And like, don't
Andy's
get me
put
wrong.
a new kink in it, Steve. He's took
I mean,
out the running back.
He changed the entire game of football. Whether anyone wants to admit it or not, Andy and his offensive mind changed the entire game of football. So don't think that he don't have that up there in that noggin somewhere. I think they'll figure it out, but I think you're right, Mike. I think there's got to be some kind of a tweak there.
Yeah, Andy's still elite. Don't get me wrong. He's still
Yeah,
elite. But, I
of
mean, everybody's got to change a little bit. The game can pass you by. I mean, you're kind of watching it in the NBA with, like, LeBron a little bit. Like, he don't look the same this year. Yeah, he's getting a little older, right? Like, everybody gets a little stale.
The fact that LeBron can still play at 75% of
Yeah, it's
what
pretty
he
wild,
did
though,
in
right?
his youth, like, is still crazy. It's like, but yeah. So, okay, so sibling rivalry. Like, who is the bigger Chiefs fan between you two? And, like, how do you settle disagreements? Or, you know, do you guys have a game you play? Do you guys, like, kind of go back and forth? Do you guys ever get a little bit chippy with each other about things?
So I can answer the first one. Mike's the biggest Chiefs fan by far. I'm not even going to try to fight him on that one. He just gets that. He's been that way since he came out of mom's womb. I think he was
the
stamped
first
with it.
word was Derek Thomas.
Yeah. So he can have that one. I digress. As far as sibling rivalries, there wasn't really a whole lot of that when we were kids. Of course, we were into sports. We were both kind of just did our own thing, and helped each other for the most part. We didn't fight much when we were kids. I think there was a point Mike would pick on me all the time, like a normal older brother would do. And I think there was a time when I was around 12 or 13. I was like, "That's it. I'm hitting him in the face. Like I'm tired of it."
I remember that happened with my little brother.
Yeah. So I was like, "That it's time," So terrible idea. I hit him, and he looked at me funny. He knocked me out.
Oh, really?
I don't remember what happened after that, but I remember him smacking me in the face, telling me to get up before Dad sees it.
Before Mom finds out.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
So I didn't try that anymore.
My brother had never stepped to me once. I came home from college, and I guess he had like worked up the courage. And man, he didn't punch me, but he lunged at me. Like after I said something I shouldn't have said. Like older brothers do it. Like I'm not proud of it. I'd do it differently if I did it now. And he lunged at me and he cracked my rib. And I was just like, all right, Matt, you deserved it. I will never mess with you again, sir.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think me and Steve, we're only about a year and a half apart. It gets close, and then it jumps to 2 years because he's February, and then I'll turn 2 years in May. So
Gotcha.
we get really close for like a few, but we never really. I mean, we were competitive. Don't get me wrong, but we always like we would kind of age out. Like I would age out of like his little league, and then he would be stuck in 1 year behind me, and then I'd go to Babe Ruth, and he'd be stuck in little league. And so we would help each other a lot. Like I remember, like I'd go to his games and watch his All-Star stuff, and there was one time we were playing, dude, and he's like, "I'm gonna hit a homer, and I'm gonna hit that kid on that fence or on this slide back there." And sure enough, he just goes there and smacks the slide, dude. We're just cracking up in the thing, but. We've always been pretty close. I mean, we get along pretty well. I mean, I don't think we've ever had a problem with not getting along. Every now and then it'll build up and we'll just bicker back and forth. It never comes to blows, obviously. But, after we fight for about 10 minutes, we're always like, yeah, man, let's go get Mexican food. And then, I mean, that just solves everything. So
I've got a brother that's actually exactly to the day a year and a half younger than me. So, yeah, everything was supportive competition growing up.
yeah.
Well, Mike kind of misled you a little bit, though. Like he said that he would age out of my league. That's not
Steve
true.
cheats.
They always made me play a league ahead of my own age.
Yeah.
Like,
we
in
would
baseball,
do that a few times.
in baseball, I was ahead of the other people in my age group. But since Mike was playing too, they would automatically just put me on his team. So I was always playing with older guys than me. So yeah, he didn't mention that, but we were always teammates, and he helped me, so that was good.
Nice.
So what about game day traditions? Do you guys have any crazy traditions that you follow? Or?
Not really. We like to meet up as much as possible, just watch the game with Pops. I mean, while he's still around, I'd like to watch as many games as I possibly can with him. A lot of people want
Feel you there.
They get on to us a lot and like, hey, you should live stream the games. We want you to live stream games. And it's like, that's cool. But, if you want that, go watch Cole. I mean,
Yeah, Cole does it.
I mean, he's got it by the balls anyway. Just go watch it and enjoy it. Do whatever you want to do. But, like, we're going to be fans and watch the game. Like, we're not worried about being on here, being, talking to you about it or however you want to look at that. But, like, we don't really care. We'd rather just get together and chill with Pops and enjoy ourselves and do what we've always done our entire lives. And then we'll talk about it later, man. I mean,
we'll have plenty of opinions everybody's going to hate after.
Yeah.
Let's not add more to it during the game in the heat of the battle because there's some stuff that might come out during the middle of a game.
Oh, yeah.
Buck mentioned that, when we first started this podcast, he's like, dude, we should do it live. And I was like, do a live stream during the game with reactions. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just enjoy watching it, and we've even found out even more so. Like we went to the Monday night game with the
Buccaneers.
Bucks, yeah, and then we ended up going like, all right, there's no way we're recording after this. We're barely getting home safe. It's just like, all right, so. And then we ended up having to watch the game over again because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And then we tried a local bar, the Kingdom Bar and Grill, just right down the street from my house. And it's a total Chiefs-themed, awesome bar. But we missed so much from the game. We recorded at the bar right after, and we're like, well, we're not going to do this again because we actually didn't take in as much as we needed to do a show. And so it's kind of something we've learned as well. I do kind of wish I put a camera just on us while we watch and not plan to put it out. But some of the coolest things Cole does on his channel with that is when he gets a clip of him goes, oh, let's go. Oh, he's just running around. It's like, that's what we do. You'd love to catch that just for like a TikTok or something, like that'd be cool.
Steve, we actually come up with an idea to do, you remember Mystery Science Theater where it shows those two idiots on the couch watching? Yeah. We thought about doing lives like that where it was just behind us and you just seen our stupid heads, but we were mic'd up.
You can't show the game either, though. So it almost have to be like a forward-facing
showed,
thing.
So it was tough. Like, we're still coming up with something. Like, I don't think we're ever opposed to it, but I mean, in the future, it's whatever. Sometimes we'll do some preseason games, and honestly, it doesn't get as much reaction as you think it's going to get. So that's why we were kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'll be honest with you. I lost my father in December of 2023, and that's actually Bob and I have been friends for like 25 years, but we've gone in and out of hanging out a lot, and that's when we started hanging out again. And him and I, our big things was the KU basketball games, and I'm not kidding. I haven't watched a basketball game since. So like you lose something, when
Right.
that ingredient, when that part of your life goes away. So yeah, enjoy every minute that you can, man.
Absolutely, man. That's what we try to do. We try to do. It's more important than jumping on here and being on YouTube. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
the way we see it.
We're doing this as, like as a love for the Chiefs and not as we have to do everything. I'm assuming you guys are the same. We have to, like, we just don't feel like we have to do everything for the channel. Like, because then once you go too far, then it takes away the fun of the whole reason you started it, right?
100%. That's a conversation me and Mike have had several days where it's just like, man, might need to chill a little bit because this is getting to where it's like feeling a little different. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But like that's the beauty of it is you got channels on here that, they started the YouTube channel because they wanted to be a YouTuber. Like it wasn't their love for the Chiefs. It's just,
Right.
Well, this is a hot subject and I want to be a YouTuber. So let's do this.
Yep.
Ours was completely different. Me and Mike, every time we're talking to each other, usually daily, we're just talking about the Chiefs anyway. So we were like, well, let's just do a podcast. So we started a podcast. And Mike's like, hey, let's put it on YouTube. And then, of course, opportunity comes knocking at the door. And it's like things grow a little bit more than you thought they were going to. And it's like, well, maybe we can run this like a bit of a business, and maybe, help ourselves a little bit, not have to go work for everybody else, do our own thing. And so we do have to look at some things through a business lens. Like Mike was saying, not a lot of people, they don't show as much interest in live streaming a game as you would think. They might see like Cole's channel and it's like, oh, he's got like 1 million people watching, so everybody should do it. That's not necessarily the case, but sometimes you got to look at things through that lens. It's like, you know what? Am I going to spend 4 hours on here for no reason? Or am I going to enjoy my own life, my own family, and do my own thing? And then that's still going to be there. You know what I'm saying? So,
And sometimes I feel bad checking out his live streams. He's just by himself, watching the game by himself, and I'm just like, oh man,
yeah.
I'd watch it with you.
But no, I don't necessarily feel sorry for him. I feel like that's where he wants to be.
Yeah,
It's like that's
Yep.
his thing. That's what he likes to do. He likes to be there doing that. So it is what it is. Like we just enjoy being together, watching the game with Pops or something, and saying what we actually think. Things we can't say on YouTube. No,
yep. And you talk about like I recently canceled my old podcast that for 3 years straight had consistently been on the top 100 Spotify and iTunes charts in the gaming category. But I was done with the game. And if I kept doing it, it's kind of like when a TV show should have ended at season 3, but they're like, oh, we're popular, let's keep it going. And then they do seasons 4, 5, and 6. And then in season 6, everybody stopped watching. And then they don't even properly end the show. And it's just like, it's
not genuine.
Yeah, it's fine when things come to an end. You just have to let it go.
Bringing back Roseanne and then kicking her off and naming it the Connor.
Yeah.
What
What
are
the
you
hell
doing?
is that about?
That's like somebody coming on our channel as a guest and kicking me and Steve out and being like, "Welcome back to All Cheap." Hey, they'd probably make it better. Let's just be honest.
I mean, you don't want things to seem forced, right? I mean, if it's forced, then no one cares anyway. It's just awkward. So.
Yep. You guys do a really good job with across all of the different things too, though. You guys do amazing shorts, amazing podcasts, and then amazing like 10-minute videos, which is what we're going to try to like jump into. But it's not really what we want to do. We want to do podcasts where we just talk about it. But to grow a channel, you kind of have to do that.
Gonna do it.
Yeah. So we're going to try our stab at that here pretty soon, but that's a lot of work that people just have no clue how much work it is.
Yeah,
And you guys find the right songs. Like I started adding music to our clips for like TikTok and X and Facebook and stuff. And Buck over here was like, well, I don't love the music. And I was like, I'm okay. Well, I can only pick from the stuff that I could use legally. I'm just like, come on.
Hey,
And he's like, well, the all chiefed up guys do, like, they got a great stuff going on. I was like,
wait
okay,
till you
yeah,
start, going into like videos, long form and things. It's like a 12-minute video, 13-minute, and you're editing all this, right? And then it takes YouTube an hour to process it when you upload it. And then you get to the end, and there's like one clip that they're like, copyright. And then you have to do it again. And then like there's another clip. It's like copyright. And then it's like your song's copyrighted. And we're like, my God, this sucks. I literally uploaded the video 19 times the other day.
And then
I was like, I hate
if you
this.
try to use the in YouTube editor, boy, that's a
That's
disaster.
trash.
Oh.
You hit the nail on the head, though. A lot of people don't understand what goes into this kind of stuff. It's insane. Like, Mike literally does this full time now. I still work part time outside of this. Of course, I have more kids to take care of and stuff than Mike.
Steve needs that insurance. YouTube
Yeah,
don't offer no insurance.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a lot of stuff going on, and we have like an off-season schedule set right now to where we're going to be dropping videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. We're doing the daytime live streams for members, and then on Saturday night doing a live stream for the public. And it doesn't sound crazy, but it really is. Just how much work goes into each bit of that, and how much behind the scenes, the
setup.
editing. Yeah, it's crazy. The recording, the editing, all of that stuff. And
not to like, and especially like right now. So me and Buck are starting to get into the
KY,
looking at like draft and stuff. And I was the type of fan before. Once we drafted, I would spend a few hours looking at all of the stuff from from the guys we drafted. But now me and Buck are trying to like dive in, and you guys have talked about it. Like, you guys don't really watch the season, but you guys have great draft coverage because people don't get it. You're watching like, dozens of hours, if not 100 hours worth of crap to make those opinions. You're not just pulling them out of a hat.
Right. Yeah, it's just so much that goes into it, and kind of research, and and then of course, like the business end of it I was talking about, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes that people don't even think about, but it's definitely my day's jam packed every freaking day. Like, I mean, I was telling you guys right before we came on, it's like I just scarfed down some Chinese food in like 2.5 seconds so I could get on here real quick, and it's like it's always just super busy, and Mike puts in a lot of work, and it's hard to not drop the ball in certain places too. We don't make $500,000 a year doing this. We don't hire editors. We don't have 2 or 3 editors to do everything for us. We don't get to, read a script, send a video somewhere. We do all of it from the ground up. And yeah, we were telling you about the schedule we got going for the off season, but then you'll start thinking, you mentioned us doing shorts earlier. Hell, we haven't done a short in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, we just got to forget about
we
it.
just dropped the ball right there. Now we got to get back on track with that. And it's like,
Don't
there's
have time
always
during
work
this
to be
time
done.
of the year, man. Just before coming on here, I'm watching. Check this out. I will go to the extreme that I have found a specific person who was at the East-West Shrine game, and they've got video footage, and they have sent me video footage of one-on-ones between tight ends and DBs, so I could watch some tight ends for our tight end show. So I was doing that all day with an actual camera phone, like somebody just recording camera phone. But let me tell you something. I really like that Elijah Arroyo kid from Miami. Let's say that. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Like you said, there's a lot of hours going into it, and there's like 400 players in this draft. And every year, and as soon as I'm done, the draft's in 4 days, and then it's like you got to just kick all that knowledge out, except for the 5 or 6 we take, and then right back to doing it again. It's a lot of work. It really is.
And even before I started this podcast, I caught a few different. I caught Cole. I caught you guys. And I didn't follow you as religiously as I do now, but I did see that you guys have been right. Like, you guys have pulled 2 or 3 players for the last 3 years, and the Chiefs has actually drafted them. So it's obvious you're doing work. I know you said, yes, we watch who they, interview with, but still, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of looking at all these different Twitter or X or all these different things and then trying to compile it together. So it's pretty impressive.
Right. Yeah, well, that's another part of this kind of thing that people don't understand too, because you do all that work and then, like you said, we can hit 2-3 players at Chiefs draft, and it's like we've been telling you all this for months, but it doesn't matter because you're not so and so or you're not so and so's channel. Like you're an idiot. Like you know nothing. What are you talking about?
You missed
It's
the other 6 guys.
Yeah, like they'll find a way to like.
Some guy
cut you down a
actually held
notch.
it against us that we predicted that the Chiefs were going to take Sky Moore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I told you the Chiefs are going to take Sky Moore. From everything I'm hearing, everything, they love Sky Moore.
Well, he's trash.
Why? I don't know. He's like, you wanted them to take Sky Moore. And I'm like, I didn't want that. I'm telling you they're going to do it.
We call him Sky Less on this channel.
Yeah. There's my prediction for the year. Sky Moore catches 1 ball.
Who was
That's a bold prediction.
Wait, was it on your show that you guys talked about, or was it? Oh, I think it was maybe Cole. But someone saw a tweet from some person that was like, if Sky Moore gets 500 yards this next season, he will get a tattoo of a goat in a Sky Moore jersey on his arm, like a big tat.
I hope he gets it.
And if you look at it, Sky Moore's only got for his career almost 500 yards.
When you go back and watch some of his film, though, at Central Michigan, is that where he come from?
Western Michigan.
Western Michigan. Yeah, when you go back and watch Western Michigan, I was like, oh, he's a slot guy, man. They peppered him, this and that. No, he was like tracking the deep ball. He was like going long and like showing speed and agility, and he was like the leading missed tackles forced in the NCAA. And I'm like, what happened? And it's just wild. And then there for the longest time, like, people hated Sky Moore, and I get it. And we were just like, man, you got to give him time, though. You can't be mean after 1 year, 2 years. He hit his limit last year. Like, okay, after 3 years, you got to do a little bit better than that.
That's the line right there.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well, they
feel like you
ruined
have
him.
to give him the majority of that rookie contract, right?
They ruined him, making him do.
Say the punt return.
Yeah, the punt returns.
100%.
Ruined him.
Yeah, I put a lot of that on Dave Tobe for real. I really do. Like that's the thing with Sky Moore. It's funny because it's a big joke, like him getting 500 yards in a season. But I honestly think that coming out of college, he had that raw talent. Like that would have been easy for him. Just pepper him the ball in the slot, like Mike was saying, and let him do work after the catch. And now it's a joke, And I think they killed his confidence with that. I really do, because he had never returned punts before. They just shoved him out there at the highest level. Like, hey, you've played football your whole life, and I know you don't do this, but go do it.
If you remember, though, in a very big moment, he had a nice punt return.
In the Super Bowl.
It was the Super Bowl, or was
no.
the AFC
It was
Championship
the
game?
Bengals against the Bengals in the AFC Championship
Yeah,
game.
he actually produced. So I don't know.
Once.
I'm not one of those guys that like to play on people when they're down. Like we're almost like one of those like hero complex things where like if people's dogging on you, I want to see them succeed. I hate that with people, and you know how it is. It's like that now. Just everything's so easy to just like pile on. So I think people's been piling on Kelsey this week all over X, right? Talking about how bad he is and.
Yeah, even though he was still
wild.
the 5th best tight end in the league last year, so stat-wise.
Look, man, two things can be true at once. Like Travis Kelce is the best tight end to ever play football, and he looked like shit in the Super Bowl. Like, okay,
man.
just because I said that he looked like ass and he was terrible, that doesn't mean that he's not great. You know what I'm saying? I was like, you're allowed to call out somebody when they suck.
And he knows, too. He talked about it on his own podcast. He was like, I've watched those clips, and that one where I didn't even touch the rusher, I don't even remember that.
I brought that up, and
like,
I got
he's just
blasted
like,
for
I
that
don't
one.
remember doing that.
People are so delusional, though. They actually like would argue about that. It's like, well, it was a tight end screen. He wasn't supposed to block. And it's like, well, actually,
You chip.
it was a
You
split
sell
screen.
the block.
He chips,
Yeah.
he sells the block, then he slides off.
Yep.
Like that's how that works. No,
Hey,
that's not it. You guys
we
don't
don't
know
know
what
ball.
you're talking about.
We have no idea what ball.
Well, Mike played,
man.
so he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well,
Still playing.
Yeah, very minimally.
we probably need to move on, but do you know another pretty prominent Chiefs content creator that lives in Kentucky? I was just curious because, yeah, you do know.
Dunn.
Okay, cool.
Let's go, baby.
I just met him. So I met him over FaceTime. I ran into Sean Barber at a Youth Ambassadors of KC event, and I told him that I like Chief concerns, and then he just Didn't even give me anything. He just calls Dunn right on the phone, like FaceTime, and I'm like, "Hey, hi, nice to meet you."
Yeah. Jason Dunn's sick. He's from over towards Lexington. I want to say Richmond.
Richmond. I think.
His family owns a barbecue joint called Dunn's Barbecue, I think. So he invited us over to come eat barbecue. We got to get over there this summer. Like, we haven't went yet, but he's been on the show a few times. Jason Dunn, man, he's a cool dude. I remember him back during the Vermeil days. He caught one of the only touchdowns I ever watched live when I went to the Bengals game, where he kicked like 86 field goals, and then he caught a touchdown. But I don't know, man. I really like Jason Dunn. And Marcus Dash is a cool dude, too. I think he lives in Virginia.
Dude, so me and Buck, over the years, like way back, when the Xbox first came out, I started a Madden League where we had 16 or so normally real life friends. My house was like the party house that everybody came to. So we ran a league where you would play your games. You would have to come to my house, play your game. We set up an extra Xbox in the dining room, and that was just like a small love seat couch, and that's where everybody would play their games. But like we do 2 weeks per every real week. We would start the league where everybody would choose numbers. You had to choose teams. You had to fill up every division first. Then you could get in other ones. So basically, it was 16 real people, 16 CPUs. You'd play your games, but when it was a player game, it would turn into like, all right, dude, Bucks playing Chase. You guys have to come for this, And then we would do it down, like we'd bring that Xbox where it was all saved down to the big room, and we'd have a party of it. Like, we ran this league for years and years, and then when it eventually turned to internet, we ran it too. So like 15 years. But okay, that was a lot more than I probably shouldn't have told all of that. But my whole point was Jason Dunn, every time he was in Madden, I would play my just regular Chiefs season, and after like 4 seasons, Jason Dunn would be a 95 overall because I loved the second tight end on the double tight end formations. So Jason Dunn would always be a superstar in my leagues. But yeah, I hear you guys talk about Madden a lot too. So I thought you were like. I learned a ton about how defenses work, like you guys talk about it, but so many creators don't talk about, like when we brought in Josh Uche, the first thing I said was, well, he's a 3-4 linebacker. We're not going to use him in coverage in the 4-3. Does he know the 3-point stance? Because you look at like some players, what's his name from the Broncos? He could do either. He could do the Hall of Famer. I'm trying to think.
Von Miller?
Yeah. Like he can do like the 4-3 defensive end or the 3-4. But a lot of people don't understand that those are two very different players. And the 3-4, the 4-3 are very different. And the only reason that I know this is because of all the time we played Madden.
You can learn a lot from that, right? We don't play Madden anymore, but I mean, I remember when we
don't
were younger.
either. I haven't played for the last 4 years.
Good Lord. I'm talking years ago, like back when.
The one with Eddie George on the cover, I think we about wore it out. Do you remember that one?
There was one where you could go to the mini camp thing, I think, and do like drills. Like they'd be shooting tennis balls at you, and like that was one that we really tore up. But yeah, you can learn a lot from that stuff. And like you mentioned, like Josh Uche, a lot of people wondering why he never really showed up for the Chiefs. He's not fit for our defense. We kind of knew that.
Yeah, he's an outside pass rusher. We use linebackers for coverage.
It was very odd for them to pick him up. And like you mentioned, there's not a whole lot of guys in the league that can do both. You mentioned Von Miller. I think Micah Parsons breaks that mold a little bit. He'll put his hands in the dirt. But there's just not a whole lot of that. But yeah, man, Madden's fun. I don't have time to even play a game if I thought about it right now. But
yeah, I ended the league when about 5 years ago, and that was really just what made it the best was the league with real players. Like, I mean, we turned it into it was a fun thing where we just had. I mean, we got really good at it too. So
Yeah, even though it was on the internet, we would still all try to get together for the draft. We'd have it planned, months in advance. We knew when the game was going to be released. Yeah, it was a good time.
All right, well, let's move into our questions about the off season. We planned for this to be about. I'm just throwing this out here for you guys, respecting your time. We planned this to be at max an hour and 15, which means we have 15 more minutes. Are you guys cool with going an hour and a half, or do you want me to kind of speedball this? It's up to you guys.
It's whatever. We'll let it be. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into this first question here. What, in your opinion, is the best off-season move that the Chiefs have made so far? And I don't think it's fair that we make you guys go first every time. So I'm going to start. If you look at the screen, Buck's going to go first on this, and then we're going to keep going clockwise. So the next question, Steve will go first. Question after that, Mike will go first. Question after that, I will go first.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I think the best pickup so far was I had my list right here. That defensive back that we got used to play for San Diego.
Fulton.
Fulton, thank you. Yeah, what he's going to allow the defensive backs to do, and McDuffie can be a slot defender.
Help out Bolton there.
Help out Bolton in the middle. I think that is by far right now. Now, well, I don't want to take anybody else's away. So yeah, that's my guy.
Yeah, for sure. So I like that move a lot too. I think the defensive backs needed a bit of a boost. There for a while we thought we were golden in the corner room because we had all those young guys, but it kind of showed this year that we weren't as solid as we thought. Nazi Johnson didn't turn out as well as we had hoped. They don't want to use Josh Williams ever, which blows my mind, but they just don't use him. But I think I'll go with the Jalen Moore signing. I think that's the one I like the best. I know a lot of people aren't super happy about it because he's not proven, and of course we want a proven left tackle and this and that, and that's fine. But you're not going to find that, right? When you get in a predicament to where you're struggling with finding a left tackle, you're going to struggle, especially when you're drafting at 31, 32 every season. You're not, and then no one else in the league wants to give you one. So, I mean, you're kind of at a standstill there. I think the Jalen Moore signing was actually pretty smart by Brett Veach. It's one a lot of people didn't think about. I think Mike mentioned it about 2 or 3 days before it actually happened. We talked about it briefly. But I think
outside of the box.
I think it was a genius move, honestly. Not because it's going to work 100%. I don't know yet, obviously.
Of course.
It's super high upside, right? I mean, you got this kid. He's only 27 years old. He's been playing behind the best left tackle in football. He actually had to step up and play that position. And, yeah, you can look at PFF scores or whatever you want, try to nitpick the kid. But if you watch the tape, he's pretty damn good. And now you put yourself in a position where you got him on 2 years, $30 million, something like that. That's great because you're not breaking the bank. And if he comes in and it does work out and he can actually take that workload on and be that guy, you hit a home run. You absolutely hit a home run and you pulled yourself out of a spot you probably shouldn't have. So I like that one a lot. So I'm hoping he works out, and we'll see, man. I think they still need to pad it up a little bit in the draft and maybe get a guy in behind him just in case, because I'm not so sure on Kingsley or Wanye being those guys. But that's mine. I think Jalen Moore is a great signing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think Christian Fulton's a great one. I think he's got a lot of athletic ability. He kind of fits in the way that Brett Veach likes to do it, where he goes out and gets a guy that was drafted in round 1 and round 2, didn't really pan out the way they wanted him to. But Christian Fulton is not no slouch either. He's actually played pretty well. He's very physical, good size. I think he's going to be able to match up out there. And the thing about Jalen Watson is I love Jalen Watson, and I like Josh Williams too. I don't think they let him play enough, but he does make mental errors. Jalen Watson stays injured a little bit, so I don't know. I think Christian Fulton's got a chance to actually get signed here long term, maybe, if he comes out and plays really well. Who knows? But I really like that one. And Jalen Moore too. I like him at tackle. Like Steve said, Dan Moore, I was not paying that dude from Pittsburgh that much money. So whoever paid him that, crazy. So I like the way they did that there. And it also frees them up a little bit to maybe keep adding during the draft as well. Like, I think if you went out and paid big money to somebody, then you're like, oh, well, we can't really draft a left tackle. What's the point? And so I think it's flexible there. So I like both of those moves. If I had to name another move, I would say getting Nick Bolton back. Just re-signing Nick Bolton, I think, does a lot for the defense. He's our green dot. He is, yeah. I mean, he's from the area. He's played, he played at Missouri and everything, and he's just a good kid all around. He might not be the most athletically gifted guy out there, but I really like the way he plays football. He's hard-nosed. A lot of people don't like him. It is what it is. I think Spags definitely wanted him, and that's why he's back.
You guys were talking about it on just your show, I believe, last night. You guys were talking about how he has a really good coverage PFF grade.
Yes.
Which, everybody has their own opinions on PFF, whatever, right? But I loved what you said, Mike, whereas, yeah, but this is all we have, and they're all graded on the same scale. So it is a good tool to use, and I love that outlook on it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like that. People say, man, I don't trust PFF. Or people will argue. They will say, I watched the game. There's no way PFF could rate them that high or that low. I see it with my own eyes. And it's like, well, are you sure you're seeing what you're seeing? Because
are you seeing every camera angle? Are you seeing everything? Yeah.
Right. And you don't know what the play is. You don't know what the coverage is. You don't know what the assignment was. You don't probably even know what they showed you on TV is not what you're seeing. Like, you've at least got to watch all 22, and you're going to watch that play 17 times to know what they're going to do.
A lot of people watch games very biasly. I mean, just from like what Mike was saying earlier, we're not afraid to call out Patrick Mahomes if he has a bad game. Like, hey, he sucked. We still love him. He's still the best in the game, but he sucked. That's fine. But a lot of people will argue that. They're like, what are you talking about? He's great. He needs an offensive line. He needs this. He needs that. They're always looking for excuses. I think a lot of people see what they want to see. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But to Mike's point, they have one set of criteria they go by. They go by it with everybody. So, I mean, even if you don't like that criteria, at least there's like a variable there to go off of. It's not just they're making stuff up because that's who they like, because that's what fans do.
Yep. I love how we had Tyler Jones on the show just a couple of days ago, and he calls them nerd stats, which I just love, because
they
are
basically
right? What they are,
Yeah. To your point, before you go on, Nick Bolton is rated 65.6. That is the 11th rated linebacker in all of football that played 50% of all coverage snaps for his team. So he had to play at least 400 coverage snaps. And that is 63. Let me get it right for you. 65.6, number 11 in all of football. So,
I mean, and I was calling to keep him way prior, and he's got a photographic memory. He's the closest thing we have seen since what's his name? Kuechly. Is that it?
Luke Kuechly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, being able to tell Spags, hey, they're setting up in this. This is what they ran in the first quarter at 2:33. Like, that's some huge things that help Spags out. But you guys basically all so Jalen Moore is mine for mostly the same things that you said. I just think it was an amazing outside of the box call, because I didn't want them to go and pay $30 million to, a guy that doesn't really fit their standards. And that really was the three people that were available. And then we saw, I'm kind of snake bit or PTSD from the left tackle we traded a bunch for, and then he left the year after. I'm blanking on his name at the moment, but I didn't want to give out a whole bunch for that. And so the in-between choice that Brett Veach grabbed, I think, is just awesome. And so I'm excited to see that. Second would be Fulton. I love how I think he's actually going to be better in our offense, because he seems to be better when he gets to press the receivers, which he didn't get a lot of opportunities to do in
San Diego.
it's not San Diego anymore. It's
Los
LA.
Angeles.
Oh yeah,
yep. Well, yeah, so he didn't get
Chargers.
he didn't get a ton of opportunity.
Hey,
to
Mike
do that.
still
I
calls
think
the
he's gonna be
Raiders the
better.
Oakland Raiders, by the way. So it's perfectly
Yes.
okay.
Nobody really cares.
So you guys really took my top two. So I'm not going to waste our time. Let's just move on. Steve is going to be first this time, but Buck, you go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah. So, what, in your opinion, is the worst offseason move that the Chiefs have made so far?
Worst offseason move. I mean, to be honest, I don't think they've done anything terrible. So this would probably be more from a perspective of least favorite, I guess. I mean, they didn't re-sign McCole Hardman, so I'm happy. 'Cause I didn't think they were ever going to let that dog die.
You really don't, dude? I think he's one of the most underrated Chiefs of all time.
Yeah, I really like what
of
he
this
brought to the team.
Like, he definitely did not live up to the second round pick. I'll give you that. But man, he was a really good like niche piece in a lot of different categories.
So I don't disagree with you. I think, yeah, he had some big plays, right? But at the same time, like, we struggled with a wide receiver for how many years? Like, we need a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
He was the reason why we didn't have one. And that always bugged me. And then, like,
I
not
get it.
only that, but it was like we kept bringing him back because we refused to attack that position and actually take care of it. It's like, oh, well, how about we give you a McCole Hardman back? It's like, it was always like a consolation prize. So I don't dislike McCole Hardman, by the way. I think he seems like a cool kid. And he was never in trouble, never nothing like that. Like he did things right, but yeah.
Yeah, he didn't race Ferraris.
I'm glad
in
we're
Texas.
moving on from that thing. But I guess
For now, at least.
to me, I'll say this. What I'm going to say, I don't think was a bad move, but it's my least favorite. Re-signing Charles Omenihu. And let me tell you, I like looking back at it, it's like you have to do it. It made sense. You get a good player, you get him cheap. Something about that guy rubs me the wrong way.
He's so arrogant.
He's the
It
most
bugs
arrogant
me.
dude on the planet. And like, I do like the fact that Brett Veach obviously was like, you know what? Go out there and see who wants to pay you that much money. And then he comes
Yeah.
crawling back, right?
Yep. And,
So, like, I don't hate the move because it makes sense. And I don't get me wrong. I think Charles Omenihu's a good football player. I think he fits into our defense great. And I'm excited that he's back. But just that vibe he gives me, man, it's
Dude,
just like,
the
I don't know if I can like him that much.
the interview where he's like, "Do you remember that game where Kel Loftus? Why can't I say his name right now? It's probably the fake tooth. He's like, yeah, that was all me. I was
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you need to say, I really helped that happen, because you did. That's what I said he was going to bring when he came back, and he did. But it's not all you.
It's just the
it's a
attitude
team
for
game.
me. It's not the level of play. It's not the move per se, but it's just like, man, you've got to humble yourself a little bit. I don't know. He thinks he's Myles Garrett or something. I don't understand, but yeah, I'll go with that one. But I mean, honestly, I don't think any of the moves are bad, so that's why I went with that.
All right, Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not really anything they've done, but what they didn't do. I think a lot of people want them to get rid of Matt Nagy, or after the comments that Joe Blameyer had about, we're scared to game plan.
Yeah, that's number 5.
So-
So you want to save that
Okay,
one.
sorry. But anyway, yeah, so for me, it's not having that shakeup we needed within the offense. Like, we've got to get this offense over the hump. With Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes, with Travis Kelce, I mean, come on. This offense needs to hum a little bit. And it's just in a funk. And until it gets out of this, and maybe it is Matt Nagy. I don't know. Maybe it's Matt Nagy. Maybe it looked better with Bieniemy at times. I mean, it really did. It's hard to argue that one. So I don't know who the blame is, and I think everybody gets an equal piece of the pie there. But I think they need to do something to shake that up, and they didn't do that. And so we may see more of the same.
What would you have considered a good shakeup though? Like signing a Cooper Kupp or someone random like that, or like what kind of shakeup were you thinking?
I don't know because honestly, it could turn into a D-Hop situation. You go trade for D-Hop, we didn't even use him.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you go, what are you going to pay? If you would have got Cooper Kupp to sign here for $10 million, which he wasn't going to do, I said he was going to get paid, and he got paid the exact amount I said, Steve. Remember, you said nobody's paying him $15 million a year, and I said you watch, somebody will do it.
No.
And I said Seattle will do it. They did it, and we wouldn't have done it. And if you would have got him here, guess what? He would have got 40 targets on the year, and
Hated
that
his
would have
life.
been it.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't have wanted to be here anymore. And I think maybe D-Hop didn't even want to be here anymore. I think our
Dude.
offense has got that stagnant that we can't really get people to want to come in and play it.
I wonder if D-Hop chose to not come back because I feel like $6 million was a pretty cheap price to
Cheap.
pay for him. Yeah.
Or Brett Veach just said, hey, you don't fit properly. We're not going to use you that way. We don't use that X wide receiver. We're moving on. And I don't even know if he tried to match it. So, but I'll say not shaking it up a little bit somehow within that offense.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and drop that question from the last because we are running over on time. So this is a good time to talk about it really quick before I go on to mine. But you talked about Matt Nagy, and we all know, everybody says Andy Reid runs the offense. We know that, right? But the offensive coordinator does do a lot, giving like Andy the plays as they move, as they're making their game plan for the week. I think Matt Nagy, this is just what I think, is he isn't as good at really working with what he has. Because, like, if he saw his offensive line problems, then everything should be a quick pass, right? Everything should be a quick slant. But instead, he still tried to do a 7-step drop plays many, many times. And so I think like his game planning is bad. And then I also think the thing that made Eric Bieniemy so good is because he was the only guy willing to stand up to Andy Reid. Whereas I feel like Matt Nagy is like, well, I think we should maybe do this. And Reid's like, I don't like that. And he's like, okay. Whereas I feel like Eric Bieniemy was like, well, I don't feel that way at all. We should talk about this. Let's discuss this, and you saw that in his fights with like Patrick Mahomes and stuff. Like, but I think that was actually, it was good to have a no guy, right? In the locker room and like in the coaching staff. And I think that's what probably made Eric Bieniemy better than Matt Nagy.
Yeah. Mike's called Matt Nagy a yes man many times. And he thinks that might be the problem. And I don't think you're far off from it, to be honest. But that's the thing. Ultimately, when I talk about Matt Nagy or whoever it is, when it was Eric Bieniemy, it's like ultimately it's on Andy Reid, right? Because so if Matt Nagy's given crappy game plans and not doing the things he should be doing, why is Andy allowing it? Why is Andy going with it? Why is Andy keeping him around? Like, ultimately, I feel like any of the offensive failures especially are on Andy Reid because he said several times himself, I call the offense. I call the plays. So, yeah, I think pretty much what these offensive coordinators do is make a game plan, take it to Andy, and then he approves or not, or they tweak it. However, I think you might be onto something. I think Bieniemy was more of a pushback guy. Matt Nagy's just going to go along with whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, for my worst offseason decision, a lot of people don't agree with me on this because Hicks came in and was so good. But honestly, I'd love to just get rid of Cook, and I would have loved to keep Justin Reed. Justin Reed for $10 million a year. Like, I feel like we could have made that happen, and that's the one that I really miss. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Cook. Everybody's like, Cook's fine. I'm like, well, yeah, unless he has to change direction quickly. And ever since his injury, he can't do that, it seems. So maybe after this year, when he gets back, from he has a full off season after the injury, like maybe he's better. But I just feel like keeping Justin Reed. I mean, he's the highest IQ in the NFL. I mean, I would have loved to keep him.
Yeah, we were huge Justin Reed guys. So I'm with you. It would have been great to be able to keep him, and I think he showed you what he's about in the playoff run this year. He was absolutely killer in the playoffs, and like you said, high IQ and leadership. Like he's got all that. And from what he got paid, it would have been nice to see them be able to make something happen there. But I think the writing was on the wall with Justin Reed halfway through the season. Though I think everybody knew he probably wasn't going to come back
because of Hicks.
Yeah, exactly.
And because the Chiefs just don't sign defensive backs, whether it be safety, corner, or whatever.
Right. I mean, they let Tyrann Mathieu walk, right? So I mean, what was going to be any different with Reed?
And Snead.
Yeah, something I heard recently about Tyrann Mathieu, because people were talking about him coming back. I guess, I don't know if this is true. I've heard it from a few different sources that he held out to sign his deal with the Saints so that we wouldn't get a commensurate pick until the next year.
That sounds like something Petty would do, but it was, like, because I feel like he's got that attitude, right? I think he really wanted to stay in Kansas City.
He did. Yeah,
sure.
I think so. All right, Buck, yours.
Yeah, so mine is more of a from a fan point of view rather than, doing this. But Joe Tooney, I love the guy. I absolutely love that he's going to find a place to play. But, man, I really would – he did so much for us this season. And I just would have loved to have seen him another season or two. I know he's, 36 years old? But he's still playing at a very high level when he's playing guard.
But $27 million?
Well, again, I'm saying as a fan, that hurt. From the business side of things, that's a whole different jar of beans.
It sucked to
my
name
heart,
him MVP and then be like, "Oh, we're trading you."
Yeah. So that hurt my heart a little bit.
All right. So, guys, on the next question, I'm pretty sure watching your content and, doing ours, we're all on the same page where we think Brett has set us up with a good enough base that we can draft best player available in the draft. I think all of us want that to happen. But for fun, what is your fantasy dream of what you could do in the draft? And Mike, I believe you're up first now.
Oh, a nice draft question from Mike. That's what I like. It probably is going to be best player available. I get that. And then going down the board, if you look at our needs, everybody's really high on the defensive line right now, and that very well could be possible. A lot of people are still projecting offensive tackles or even best player available. You may have Luther Burden fall into your lap. So for me, I'm going to trust what Veach decides and what Andy and them want. If it were me, though, and all these guys were on the board.
Yeah, this is about your,
right.
Don't even cancel out trading up, anything. What do you want in a fantasy world? Not actually what you think is smart, because mine's not smart at all that I'm going to do next. So, but just a fantasy world.
Right. So, okay, well, I have a few. I think Kelvin Banks would be a nice pick for the Chiefs. If you could somehow get Kelvin Banks in the first round, I think.
Here, help me out. What positions does he play? Sorry.
He's more of a left tackle, but they think he could play guard. And then I think at worst, he is a Jawan Taylor right tackle replacement. So just in case Kingsley is that left guard of the future, then he's at least a right tackle replacement.
Guy.
If you want to look to the defensive side, I'll just name a player that not a lot of people know about, and he's going to be a day 3 guy, for sure, but I'd love to see it. It's Olufemi Oladejo from UCLA. He is a defensive end. He's a converted linebacker. He's 6'2", 6'3", 260. He's only rushed the passer for literally maybe less than 500 snaps. And at the East-West game, he was a monster. I think he's got the intangibles and the athleticness and just something about the guy. He's very smart. I think he's a better version of a Mike Dana. He's possibly could be a more athletic George Karlaftis, if that makes sense. That's what I see from him. I think he would fit into this defense really well. And so I would like to see him maybe in a day 3 kind of scenario. So I'll pick that for a sleeper scenario. And then I would love to see a solid tackle like Kelvin Banks maybe. Luther Burton, I'll take too. I'll take anybody that can move the needle on the offense. Let's be honest.
All right. So mine is out of this world, and I wouldn't actually, let me preface it, I don't think it's smart, and I wouldn't actually do it if I was in Brett Veach's, situation, but I would absolutely love to trade up, and I mean trade up, to a top 5 pick and take Ashton Genty. I have told people, if you look at Andy Reid's, his whole history, he hates to run, but if he has an S quarterback, which is higher than A for anybody that doesn't know how that works, an S quarterback or running back, he runs. Like, you look at LaShawn McCoy, you look at Kareem Hunt in his youth when he first was here at KC. You look at Brian Westbrook. You look at, like, if he has guys there that don't drop the ball, don't fumble, and guys that actually get a lot, and guys that can catch out of the backfield, he runs a lot. So I'd love to see Ashton Genty, and Tramp, but also if we did that crazy trade up to top 5, which would cost way more than you would ever do. This is dumb. This isn't like an actual thing, but I would love to get Travis Hunter in here and have a guy that could be a corner and then be put in on a lot of different wide receiver plays. And we haven't seen that in the NFL since his coach from Colorado, I was stalling because I freaking am just blanking on his name, Deion Sanders. We haven't seen somebody play both sides in a long time. I know it's a lot harder in today's NFL, but he could play corner, and they could definitely be in some sets for wideout. I just, as a fan, would love to see. We haven't seen a big draft pick come in a long time, and those two are some players that I would just love.
All right. Well, in the interest of saving time, because this is running really long now, and because I don't really have any names of college players to throw out there, all I care about, I really want to shore up this offensive line, especially the left tackle position. So in a dream world, we trade up to whatever that means to get the best tackle in the draft. That's it.
I mean, we'd have to trade up we'd have to trade up just like I talked about.
Sure.
Would you rather just take Josh Simmons as a trade up 5 picks to get him?
Yeah. I mean, you said this is a dream situation, right? So I don't care what it would take. If we got to have the first pick, then we got to have the first pick. But let's go get that guy.
But would you want him to play? Would you want him to study under Jalen Moore? Because we gave Jalen 15 mil. So at this point,
no. This is a dream scenario. So he comes out of college. He starts day 1, and he is all pro. That's how it goes.
All right, Steve.
Oh, so absolutely, I'm going to take advantage of this one. It doesn't have to be realistic, right? But I have
mine wasn't.
So I have seen a lot of draft boards to where they have Amarion Hampton falling all the way to the end of the first round. And I've seen also Luther Burden falling out of the first round. So in my fantasy land, it'd be nice to be able to draft Amarion Hampton in the first round. And then you have that running back that you were just talking about, right? Because by all metrics, any other year, Amarion Hampton's the number 1 running back. He just happened to be in the same draft as Ashton Genty.
Yeah.
So you're getting that top caliber running back. And then, we have the extra 3rd round pick from the L'Jarius Sneed trade. What if you traded back up into the 2nd round and you got Luther Burden on top of it? And then you've got 2 ridiculous offensive weapons that are going to be on rookie contracts. And then, just icing on the cake, Jalen Moore works out, and we don't have to worry about that left tackle no more.
Steve, you're really horning it up today.
Hey, that's it,
You're rocking on 10 right now.
Hey, I'm telling you, horned up, brother.
All right.
Hey, would you be mad at that?
I wouldn't.
That sounds pretty good to me.
It's very appetizing. All right, so next question is, what's your overall grade then on the Chiefs' free agency moves thus far?
All right, so I think I'm first now.
Yeah, we'll do it on an Arrowhead scale of 1 to 5.
Okay, Buck made fun of me for giving 1 to 5 arrowheads on this, but I thought it was pretty. I thought it was pretty cool, and Buck thought I was pretty lame. But either way, we're doing it on a 1 to 5. You can do 0.5, 0.3, whatever. I give the Chiefs free agency moves. If you're thinking in a sense of keeping us, because Mahomes has got a good 10 years left. If you keep it on we want to be competitive for those whole 10 years, then I think Brett Veach, I think he did a 4.5 arrowheads out of 5. If you were trying to just go back to the Super Bowl and win and sacrifice a lot for the future, then it would be a lot lower grade. But I don't think that's what we want to do, and I don't want to be the Rams of their Super Bowl run, right? So I think he did a really good job.
Nice. My turn?
Yep.
So what I did is I went through and I listed all of the different moves that the Chiefs have made since the Super Bowl, and I graded each one on a scale of 1 to 5. And I like math, I like numbers, I like logic, right? So I just added them all up and gave it an average of, and I only did it on a 0.5 scale, so I didn't, it might be like 3.7 or 3.8, but I was at 3.5.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So you're not exactly
But I wasn't
enthused with it.
Well, it doesn't really reflect that. It's more of a. There was a couple of low ones, and it wasn't because they were bad moves. It was just because I just don't think it's going to help all that much. But it has nothing to do with, are the Chiefs building for the future? Are the Chiefs are going to throw in all their cards for this next year to get a 4th Super Bowl run? It was literally just every single move by itself. Take it for what it is.
All right.
Right. Well, I'll go. I'm going to do the same thing as you and say 4.5, Bob. So that's where I'm going to be at. I'm going to leave a little bit of space there. I think that Brett Veach has done an excellent job this offseason, working within his means. I mean, obviously, a lot of people expected big things, but you have to be realistic. I think what he's doing is building for the future, trying to make sure that the entire career of Patrick Mahomes, that we are competitive and our Super Bowl window's open. And I think he did all the right things to make sure that we could go into this draft and draft best player available. I like all the moves. I'll take off that half because I'm with Mike. I feel like I would have liked to seen something to shake up the offense a little bit more. So maybe that's coming. I mean, maybe he can do that via draft, maybe post-draft. I don't know. But so far, that's the one thing I've noticed too. I would like to see something shook up a little bit just to get this offense into gear. But I think all the moves he's done has been very strategic, nothing flashy, nothing fancy, but we get to go into this draft and get the best players available, and we don't have to focus on one position.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give it a 4.3. I think right in that range between 4 and 4.5. But I think if some of these hit, for example, Jalen Moore hit a little bit, this thing's getting closer to a 5. But at the same time, a lot of people want, he has to go fix the tackle. He's got to do it. There just wasn't a lot out there.
There was no options. What do you want him to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't make a 5-course meal out of a bologna sandwich. You just can't do it. So Brett Veach done what he needed to do, and looking back on it, and it's something we didn't talk about today, but I think kind of hurts us when it comes to draft time, losing Mike Borgonzi to the Titans. That's a big one. He was really big on our draft and doing things like that. I think that's a big one.
That's a huge one to mention that a lot of people don't think about.
We lost D'Alessio, our safeties coach. He's going to go be a DB coach with the Ravens, and I think when he left, he was fighting to get Justin Reed when he came. So I kind of knew Justin Reed's writing was on the wall there. So there's going to be a few changes here, but I think Brett Veach done a pretty good job. The draft's going to really dictate, and I think hopefully Brett Veach hits a home run here because Brett Veach has had some good drafts, and he's had some really stink drafts. Like, that's just, I'm being honest there. Like, people can trust Veach all they want, and I trust Veach to a certain degree, but he's had some stinks. So let's hope that this is a better year than a worse year.
Well, and you talked about Mike Borgonzi. I don't know if I say that right, but he, for anybody who doesn't know, he was the right-hand man for Brett Veach, and he went to the Titans. Yep. But you have to look at that also in the lens of the more relationships Veach has with other team GMs and front offices, the more like Veach, the more the Chiefs and Veach can help each other, like help the Titans, help us at the same time. Like the more you have those relationships, like that's what builds trades. That's what builds these types of interactions. And the more, you know, it's just kind of like you think about the Andy Reid coaching tree. Like it's kind of the same deal. Like the more people you know and can network with, the better you can actually help both teams, you know, as the years go on. So it's a bummer we lost him, but now we have a relationship with another GM, you know, so there's like, that's not something to scoff at.
Well, to that point, Borgonzi was here for 16 years. So him and Veach are like this. What if the Titans with their number one pick say, hey, look, we want Abdul Carter. Hey, we want Travis Hunter. Let's say Shadur Sanders falls down the board. Maybe they come up and we can get out of the first round to a Titans team that want to come in and give a quarterback a fifth year. So you've got that option, you know. You've got some people out there. Maybe the Titans went back into the first round to grab that quarterback that they don't think is worth the number one pick. Maybe they don't want Cam Ward, right? So we'll see, man. There's a lot of options there.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's all of this is like pretty cool, and it does suck that we lost him, but you know, hey, hopefully somebody else there. I know Mike and Steve are ready for the call. You know, if Veach, if you want to call them, just call them up. You know,
I've been taking notes all this time, man.
Man,
gigantic pencil.
All right, yeah.
It's my we don't give a crap pencil.
Yeah, the last question was the coaching staff one. I think we hit that up. Did anybody else, like, just in case, I want to make sure everybody was heard. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about, any coaching staff stuff?
No, we covered it with Nagy.
Yeah, I think so. All right, guys. Well, that's going to end out the show. If you guys want to, like, find us, you can find everything we do at buckandbob.com. That's BUKNBOB.com. Just go there. It's just basically a jump to our like link tree that just shows you like Spotify, all the different places you can listen. Check us out. Buck, where can we find you?
As always, I'm on Facebook. You can also find me on X. It's at Buck_tastic, BUK_TASTIK.
Awesome. And Steve, Mike, this is your time. Like, plug everything you do with your channel. Plug your channel. Plug whatever. Go.
Yeah, any social media, basically, just / all chiefed up, right? Mainly do all of our work on YouTube for the most part, but we also have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. But yeah, we just do Chiefs content, and we do a lot of it. So go check it out. I don't think I missed anything. That's pretty much what you can find us, just / all chiefed up.
Yeah, you guys don't have your own personal Twitters or anything, right?
I have one, but I rarely use it.
Yeah, we do, but we don't use it to talk Chiefs, really.
Gotcha.
If you catch me on there, I'm talking about the stock market. So if that doesn't intrigue you, if you want if you want to get up and make some money in the morning in the stock market, let me know. I'll hit you up.
Yep, that's their politics podcast. It's a whole different thing. All right. And you can find me on X at blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. Guys, we're going to get out of here. All chiefed up. Steve, Mike, you guys were great. Thank you for coming on to our
Thank you for
small
your time.
channel.
Yeah, thanks for
thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Really appreciate it.
It's nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week.